Hello, witches! Indeed, it is time for the Witches Movie Coven. So grab your goat, grab a drink, and grab some holy water this evening because we are talking about The Conjuring number 3. The devil made me do it. The devil made me do it. So, did the devil make us do it? We will see. Hope you watch the movie. My name is Patty Negri. I'm one of your hosts. You might know me from Ghost Adventures or from my Witching Hour podcast. From my school, University Magicus, from my books, Dollcraft. First time I remember to mention my Llewellyn book, Dollcraft, yay! Of which Heather did the beautiful entry. I can hold a goat and a book at the same time. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to my co-hosts. Let's start with the beautiful Heather Green.
I am Heather Green, and I am the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft. It is a critical history of witches in American film and television, and it covers all things witchy from the beginning of film till 2020, actually, when I had to turn it in. But I am also, let's be honest, so I am also an editor at Llewellyn. I work with great authors like some of the ones we have here, as well as a journalist covering all things occult. And I'm so excited to be talking about the Conjuring universe tonight.
Thank you very much. Let's move it over to Richard Lale.
Hello, I am Richard Lale. Richard Lale is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a... That's right. I am known as the Gentleman Psychic. I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small, but I gained some weight. That being said, if you're enjoying our videos, make certain to hit the like and subscribe and leave all of the comment and all of those things wherever you're hearing this podcast. Make certain you give us some ratings, whatever that may be. And I am not excited. I mean, yes, I am excited talking about tonight's film. Yay.
Thank you. Yes. Let's move it over to the man with the golden locks, Jason.
I am Jason Mackey. I am a super writer, 10 books and counting. This is my latest book, High Priest. It's biography of Raymond Buckland. This is one about spellcraft that just happens to be near my desk. I am a rock and roller whiskey enthusiast and happy member of the Witches Movie Coven.
Didn't Raymond Buckland just have his birthday, Jason?
He did just a couple of days ago. I think it was Sunday.
Should we sing?
No. And yeah, I was going to say he's dead and he wouldn't know, but on this show, that doesn't really matter.
All right. Well, we are sad to say that Courtney will not be with us this evening. Her leg hurt. She has injured herself and sent her love, sent her good magical vibes too. But we're happy to announce that we have the beautiful Tabitha here. And so welcome back, Tabitha, our regular.
Thank you so much, Patty. I am Tabitha Meadows, and I am a medium and psychic. And I am super happy to be with y'all tonight on the start of the spooky season as we are hurtling towards a full moon this week. Thank you very much for having me again.
Thank you. Thank you. So as I said, this movie is The Conjuring 3. The Devil Made Me Do It. And hopefully you guys all watched it. It might have taken me 3 viewings, but I watched it. In case you didn't, Richard Lale, this might be your time for an unbiased explanation and synopsis of this.
Oh, I'm going to try to use restraint. What is this film about? First of all, it's about 5 hours too long. Number one. Number two, what is this film about? A love letter to Bronze Age mythology and giving way too much power to the devil. That's what. What is it not about? Fun fact, Ed, a devout Christian, was having, shall we say, carnal interactions with a girl of 15 at the time that this was supposed to be taking place. So, he is not one of my favorite persons. Nonetheless, let's talk about the film. So, the woman who plays Norman Bates' mother plays Lorraine Warren. And I liked her better as Norma Bates because she's dead. The film... This film is about the police find this young man walking the streets with a dazed look on his face covered in blood. and they arrest him. Apparently, he has committed murder. And lo and behold, tell it on the mountains, the devil made him do it. Because the devil is so powerful that he could make you do things to harm other people, whether you wanted to or not. So Ed and Lorraine have to convince the court that, yes, demons do exist. Yes, this man is possessed of the literal devil. And in the interim, they find that there's some dark Satanists who worship a literal Satan, and they have this multi-million-dollar altar somewhere underground in a train station or something. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. And then, of course, Lorraine gets possessed of the devil, and then Ed comes to rescue her in the tunnels. And just in the nick of time, the curse is lifted. And then, true to form, the kid that they were trying to prove it was not his fault that he was demon possessed, he actually gets convicted and spends 5 years in prison because it didn't work. It didn't work. Happily ever after, there's Debo, a bunch of contortionists. You see, there's a lot of contortionists. The worst thing, though, is when in the beginning, it starts with a seance. There's two things. It begins with a seance and ends with the historical seance. In the beginning seance, the man says to the little boy, I'm almost embarrassed to say it. He says, "Come in me! Come in me!" Which is creepy and weird. And then in the end seance, which was the historical context one, he says, Jesus repels you. And I went, yeah, actually. Yeah. And that's a synopsis. I am trying to be kind. That's it.
Trying.
Thank you. And now we have the complete outline of the film and where it went. Heather, do you have more things perhaps that we need to know about this film?
Yeah, well, yes, and so I'm going to do this a little differently. So I'm going to go over, sort of talk about more about the universe than I am about this specific film, because it's part of a bigger thing. But first, on this film, Conjuring 3, Devil Made Me Do It. It actually is part of, like I said, this universe. It's very popular, considered the most popular horror franchise in movie history. Hollywood history, definitely modern horror history. It made 24 million. This one made 24 million. It opened. It cost 40 million. It did not do as well. It has not made as much money as the first Conjuring, which is the most successful. But the Conjuring, the original Conjuring, budget was only 20 million. So the second two were 40 million, and the one coming up that's just being released has a 55 million budget. So you can see how they are investing in this franchise. It is expected, the new one is expected to rake in a ton of money. So they are expecting success. This one was directed by Michael, I think it's Chavez or Chaves. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his last name. He directed 3. He directed 4. The original director, James Wan, he directed a number of the different ones in the franchise. He directed 1 and 2. So there's a changeover in the director for this one. That's sort of the basics of this. Again, this is part of a bigger franchise. So next, I just want to talk about the universe itself. So one thing I love about universes, whether you like this universe or not, one thing I like about universes in general is that when they do have threads that connect the various movies, it's fun to watch them in chronological order. You can do that with this one. People do it with Star Wars. People do it with the Marvel universe. I've done it with a number of different ones. You can do this with the Conjuring universe. So I'm going to tell you how to watch them in chronological order. So you start with The Nun, right? That takes place in 1952 Romania. Then you go to Annabelle Creation, which is 1955 California. Then you go back to The Nun, Nun 2, 1956 Romania. Then to Annabelle, the original Annabelle, 1967. We're getting thumbs up and thumbs down in the corner if anybody's curious. That's 1967 California. And then The Conjuring, 1971, Rhode Island. That's the film that started it all. It also gave you a little intro to Annabelle in that movie. Then you go to Annabelle Comes Home, the 2019 movie. That was 1972 Connecticut. We're back at the Warrens' house. Then you go to The Curse of La Llorona. I have not seen that one. It's kind of a sideline one. 1973 Los Angeles is where that one takes place. Then Conjuring 2 comes in. 1977 UK, if you haven't seen that one, that also introduces the nun. Then Conjuring 3, 2021, that's the one we're talking about tonight. It's 1981. And then Conjuring 4, which is coming out, The Last Rites, that takes place, I believe, in 1983, Pennsylvania. So you can see, you can watch them in order, and there are threads that weave you through. Connections, of course, the main two characters are the biggest connections, and through all of them, played by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. That's the Warrens. There they are right there. So that's one of the interesting things. Of course, everyone knows the Warrens are the origin stories for this. They're the inspiration behind these movies. Ed and Lorraine Warren, whether you love them or hate them or like them or whatever, they did. All of these movies are based on cases that they went on, real cases.
Kind of.
Well, yeah, hold on. I'm not done with that. They are, I said based on. They are based on cases. They are not accurate historical retellings. There's a lot of stuff that was added to make narratives, better narratives and better stories out of them. And we'll talk about that in a second. But the Warrens started their investigation society in 1953, I believe, but they really didn't hit it big, let's say, until the first case. It was Annabelle case, 1970. Right, Clarabelle? Do you have anything to say about that? You can't even see her. She's watching us. Hello. So that was their first case. That's when they got popular. That was 1970. Their last case, which is the one in this new movie coming up, is the Snurl case in Pennsylvania. That was 1980. Well, I have 1986 down over here, 1983 somewhere else. So it is their last case. At least then, from 70 to 86, they were very popular. Their cases, just for notes, of course, the Conjuring house. I went there. I'm wearing the T-shirt. That's an actual house. It's an actual story. I believe Patty's been there as well. I don't know if anyone else has been there. Then the second movie is based on the Enfield poltergeist happenings that was in the UK. There's a TV show or a TV documentary you can watch about that. That's Conjuring 2. Conjuring 3, of course, we've already heard that there was a legal case where Arnie, the one who shot, that was the first murder in that town's history. What is it? Brookline, Connecticut. So it was the very first time anyone was murdered in that town in its 150 years of existence. And it was the first time that's been publicized or known that anyone tried to use demon possession as a defense. Now, of course, we can talk about Salem and accusations of demon possession, but that's a whole nother story, right? So that was the first time in modern times that it was used. So it's kind of it was a court case. But there's a lot of stuff that's woven into these stories that does not exist in the Warrens' files. Like the nun, Valak, I believe they call it. There was no Valak nun. That was something that was made up for the movies. Of course, parts of The Conjuring, some aspects of that. A lot of these things were not part of the actual cases. They were made for the stories, which takes me to the next thing. And just so everyone knows, the Warrens have now passed. Their society does still exist. I think it was just purchased. Patty will know more about that because you're involved with those folks. So you can talk about what's going on with that. Patty and I both co-wrote an article about Annabelle, and it touched on some of that stuff, what's going on with that. So that's for another time. But the next thing to talk about is Ed and Lorraine Warren. The other big piece you have to know about them is they were devout Catholics, which Richard Lale suggested already a little bit. Everything they did in this world, understanding them and how this worked, is understanding that this was that they were devout Catholics. He called himself a demonologist. She called himself a psychic. What they did was all through the lens of being Catholic. I know somebody that did work with her at a period of time. She was, in fact, psychic. She did feel things. However, she saw whatever she felt through that lens. and that affected the way they judged everything. So it's very important to understand when you are watching retellings of their things or hearing their accounts, is that they're telling it through that lens. And so when you see why they came, it's not a coincidence why they became popular in the 70s. This was the lead up to the Satanic Panic. They didn't cause it, but they rode the wave. The reason the Satanic Panic happened, it was mostly a reactionary movement to the counterculture and all the changes that were happening. We had the fundamentalist movement got strong. It got in bed with politics by the Reagan era. So you have this whole movement of why the Satanic Panic happened. They rode the wave in. They probably would not have been as popular if they remember they were doing this since the 50s. So they would not have been as popular in a different decade. It worked perfectly for them, and they rode it. They rode that wave. It helped them, and they did not help, but they were not the cause of it. But they rode the wave in, and their work flourished in it, and definitely contributed to the prolonging of the Satanic Panic. This is a Michelle Remembers era, where people were afraid. So getting to this particular movie, my last thing, this movie of all the three have the most elements of the occult in it. If I remember correctly, all the various movies, these cult pieces are the Stregaria, the altar, the big giant altar with the pentacle, the mention of it's sort of mentioned, it's at the end, I believe, in this one, but there's the Valak demon, the totems and the witches' totems and the occult and the ram cult. There is no ram cult. That was all fake for the movie. It was based on stuff that you would see in like Michelle Remembers and stuff. The interesting part for me is that the movie itself, this movie, the amount of occult things that were pinned to this movie and to this story did not exist in the original account of this. These pieces I'm talking about were not part of the original story. So the writers of this 2021 movie added elements that make it seem like this movie came right out of the Satanic Panic with no commentary. So that's an interesting part of what they're doing, is they're using Satanic Panic elements to create this new narrative that we are now watching now. Stuff that was not part of the Warrens' studies. So that's it. That's what I have for you. Let's go.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to jump in before we get all into the movie, because there's a bunch of questions here and I don't want to forget them, about being that, yes, I have been there. I have spent the night at the Conjuring house in one of the beds, the daughter's bed. And it is haunted. It is spooky. The woods to me are the spookiest. I've spent the night there too. I went there not just the very, very end of 2024 when there was a bunch of controversy going on because Jason Hawes and a bunch of known and well-loved paranormal people were saying boycott it. We already had reservations. We were going. And I had a pretty amazing experience there, both haunted-wise and not. And I met the woman who owns it or has been owning it. I don't know what's going on. And she actually was wonderful with us. And she knew who I was. I gave her my book, my first book. And I heard that she was actually taken away by the police or to a crazy place that night. So I think she has some mental problems and issues along the way. But I wanted to say there was a nice woman in there somewhere. I also want to, it is definitely haunted. I do want to address somebody said Matt Rife is one of the owners, Matt Rife and Elton Castay, both dear friends of mine. I've done tons of paranormal investigations. They are both, nobody's looking at Matt like he's a seasoned paranormal investigator. He is. He's just known and famous for being cute and a comedian. But I've worked with him and he takes it seriously. So Annabelle is in really good hands. I knew for months and months before everybody did, and it was just kept silent. And they're going to do good things with the Warren estate. They're going to make it an Airbnb that with equipment that people can go if you don't have ghosts and you want to go experience. Again, I feel really good about it. Also, a dear friend of mine, again, then we'll get back to the movie, is Andrea Perrin, because she's on the circuit with me. She is one of the daughters of The Conjuring. She was the daughter that was there. And she she likes to remind everybody that there was good ghosts there too. She never had the negative experience that everybody else did. There is negative there. So again, movies are movies, but it is definitely a haunted house. Her thing now, though, I must say she's one of my favorite people. She's at the paranormal things because she's a Conjuring daughter, but she's into the whole ET thing, the extraterrestrial thing, and she can sing and they come down. A few times I've been with her, and she's just like, okay, there'll be 60 of it. So they'll point your cell phones up, and she starts singing, just no microphones or anything. All of a sudden, these little lights start coming out of the sky and orbs, and then I taught her to do it some chanting, and they even came more. So she is one of my favorite people, and I know her health has been a little rough lately. So shout out to her. She's not negated anything about the movie. She doesn't stand by them, but I don't think she has a big issue. It's just her truth is slightly different. And I forget what else I was going to remember, but yeah, go spend the night there if you can. And now you're going to be able to. Well, I don't know that yet. Never mind. I'll talk about it later.
It's been in the press, Patty. It's okay.
Not the Conjuring house.
That's right. The Warren's house, not the Conjuring house.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
The house in the museum.
Yeah, yeah. Go. You can spend the night at the Warrens. I skipped ahead for a minute. I apologize wholeheartedly.
Soon we're all going to be on the road together. We're going to get a van. We're going to get a dog to come with us.
Yes.
And we're going to go on the road, and we're going to go to all these places.
And the van
and we'll broadcast.
Jack Phillips. We should do that. The tour, the movie club tour.
That'd be awesome.
Patty and I will be in the back with Scooby snacks, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
If we're doing Scooby-Doo universe, I think I'm Vincent Van Gogh. I think that's the closest association that I would be. Maybe
sadly,
when I was young and blonde.
Sadly, I always felt Scrappy Doo for myself. Like, I don't know why. That's not good. Nobody relates to Scrappy Doo but me.
Oh. Velma.
Oh, there we are.
Yes.
Zoinks.
We need a big flag.
Jason, you keep popping into the main picture. Take it away.
Oh, so I have feelings about this movie. And the first movie is really good. The first Conjuring movie is a very well-made film. It didn't bother me. I'd never seen such detail in a horror film before. James Wan is like a top-notch filmmaker, and he chose to make a horror movie. And it was great, and there's some nice jump scares in there. I know that there are liberties taken. The Warrens of the films are not the Warrens of real life. But this third movie angers me greatly, because this movie is satanic panic to the extreme, especially to be released in... Originally, it was supposed to be out in 2020, but it came out in 2021 because of COVID. You had all the QAnon stuff going on. There were a lot of conspiracy theories going on that are very similar to what happened during Satanic Panic. And to promote that, I felt, was irresponsible. One of the great things about the first two movies, they're researching ghosts. And now we have a real person murdering people and trying to get others to murder people. And it's not like the first two movies, and it's just rotten to its core. It's absolutely rotten. You know how I'm going to wands up or down already.
Oh, yeah.
But this movie just makes me angry, the amount of satanic panic that's in this film.
Mm-hmm.
That character's made up.
It was all added, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
The character Isla Kastner, she's made up. She's fictionalized to make the movie more supernatural. So that is definitely one thing that made me super upset about this is how that they treated witches, to make it up and actually blame it on witches, because it's about the devil made me do it, but somehow there's a witch that pops up and it becomes a story all about her, and just the light that they betray us in over and over. It's the same thing with this this made up totem thing. I actually me personally, I hadn't even heard of a totem in regards to witches. I'm not saying that it isn't out there, but for me, totem is more like an indigenous word. But just that whole thing being made up in a movie that they tell you at the beginning is based on a true story is unfortunate, because a lot of people are going to take this as as the gospel and think that this is real without having done any research for themselves whatsoever. So I totally agree with you, Jason. I think it's unfortunate.
I will say, however, as a former Christian, even though Thumper's not here, as a former Christian, I did kind of giggle and laugh when they said Satanists are more powerful at night. I'm like, oh, well, that explains a lot, actually. I mean, I'm kind of a morning person. Like, you would think I'd be really like dark and evil, but I'm up at like 7 a.m. in the morning, and then I'm running the Hoover, and then I hail Satan, and then I make a nice lunch, and then I have tea in the afternoon. I mean, all satanic things. But I guess I'm supposed to be more powerful at night. I guess.
Because Lucifer, Daystar, son of dawn, really powers up when the sun goes down.
Yeah.
That's another thing that's irritating too. From all of my research and all of my observations in the paranormal world and being a medium, what I've found that most what people deem as demons ended up being just really, really, really bad humans. And there's the thing that we have is called free will, and it's used when it's convenient, and when it's not, we humans tend to like to have something else to blame our own shadow on. Whether it's a whole group of people or individuals, it's just there's just people out there that blame the devil, Satan, for their own miscomings. And again, I personally don't think that that's fair to the devil or Satan. I think you human beings need to own up to your own crap. If you're a bad human being, okay, you can fix it. Fix your crap.
That's our next shirt. Fix your crap, Tabitha Meadows.
I think that to tell any of these stories, they were going to have to create stuff for them. We can't tell which narratives without in fictional narrative cinema without creating drama. You can't, and you can't tell any. So and then there's that guy. So he's gone.
Well,
there he is.
The drama could have been in the courtroom.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was going to be my point, Tabitha. I'm sorry. The point is they did it in The Conjuring, but they did a little bit of crossing over into the witch thing, but they didn't lean so far into the satanic panic stuff as they did in this one. And that's the biggest problem with this movie. And like I said, it wasn't there. None of it was there. It didn't have to be there to tell this story. They could have just done it as a paranormal. They could have left the whole witchcraft occult out of it, and it still could have been, and added some drama like they did in the first one, and it would have been more effective and simpler and less hokey. And unfortunately,
they wouldn't have had to spend $40 million on the budget.
Exactly. Well, and then the other thing is, if they were going to use satanic panic stuff, you comment on it, which is what Stranger Things did in the last season with Vecna. They had this. They showed the satanic panic stuff with D&D and all, but it was commentary on the problems of it. They directly pointed the finger at it, and they could have done something like that, but they chose not to, because this is the Conjuring universe, and that's not what their goal is here. So, we'll see how number 4 works itself out. It's so far does not get good reviews, but okay, we don't know.
I'm going Friday night in Maine. I've been invited to a private screening Friday night in Maine before the HorrorCon. So I'll let you guys know what I think of the new one. Um, this one, yes, Satanic Panic, yeah, all that stuff. But why is it so damn slow? I kept
And all over the place.
I kept falling asleep. Wake up. Oh, rewind. Wake up. And then I woke up and there was some other movie on. I did a Courtney, but at least I
Witch
didn't.
of the Sea.
Yes, Witch of the Sea. I had to, and then this afternoon, it's like, okay, it was late at night. I just flew in. Of course, I was tired. It's not the movie's fault. I tried to watch it today, middle of the day, cup of coffee in my hand. I still fell asleep. I had to rewind it again. I think I like the Conjuring universe itself, and I actually like the characters, good, better, and different, that play the Warrens. I've never got to meet the real Warrens, so to me, again, right or wrong, they are the Warrens as I know them. But why did it have to be so slow? I watched the movie 3 times before to get through it, and
Patty, the reason it was so slow is the devil made them do it.
The devil made them do it. I know. And again,
it's a kind of torture. So maybe we're in hell. Maybe that's what it was.
There's a chowder fountain somewhere waiting for us.
Right. And it was, and I kept looking, it was like a mashup, going back to the satanic patent is Satanism, witchcraft, necromancy, demonology. But wait, trying to catch up where everything, it's like just throw it all in a pot and make stew.
And then there's the Ram cult.
Stew. Whoa.
The Ram cult is also blamed in Annabelle.
Yes.
They're the one that's the same blame as who I think took the daughter who's the Annabelle who becomes Annabelle, who eventually haunts Annabelle, but the Annabelle daughter winds up joining the Ram cult and then coming back and all that stuff. So this Ram cult thing was created for the Conjuring universe based on like Manson or the Michelle Remembers cult or whatever other satanic cults.
How about this Ram cult?
That's it. We have a Ram cult, don't we?
We do.
Woo for the Ram cult. But yeah, so that was an interesting thing. And someone said it was set in the 80s, so of course it has to have satanic panic elements. That's what was done in Stranger Things. They added the satanic panic elements, but they did it in such a way that it commented on that's what was happening at the time, rather than actually making it real. Because in the Conjuring 3, there is a Ram cult. It is an occultist. They do have to break an altar, a giant, what was that, $1 million altar with a etched in pentacle on it. It isn't commentary. It is real in the universe of that movie, and that's the problem.
I mean, it's a nice altar, though. like,
so
I would
dirty.
love one. I mean, but like
right.
big stone altar, like you could do like anything on it, right? I mean, I'd
After
like one of
you
those.
gotta clean your altar, though. It's so dirty.
I know.
Yeah. Gotta clear out that energy. It's important.
And of course, also like a half invalid, whatever. Oh, Ed Warren can like take it down with a sledgehammer, though, right? I mean, 2 minutes ago he could barely walk, and now he's boom, boom, boom with the sledgehammer. Hey, buddy, don't have another heart attack here, you know?
Yeah, with them, it seems to be too.
And meanwhile,
out in the paranormal world, it's like it seems to be split down the aisle about the Warrens. Either people really love them or they really can't stand them, and that's another thing. And going back to what the movie is about, I really think, like Heather was saying, that this case was more about trying to prove that the devil was real in court. And I really think that if they had played on that angle a bit better, that it would have come out a more believable movie, because that was the whole point of the case, was trying to prove that there was a devil.
there is a devil, and his name is mankind.
That's another conversation.
Oh, and on top of that, Arnie was actually convicted of first-degree murder, manslaughter rather, and he only served 5 years of that actual 10 to 20-year prison term, and he was actually allowed to get married to Debbie while in prison. So I also found that extremely interesting as well. Having murdered someone, how do you get to take another person's life and only serve 5 years of yours for that? Where's the penance in that?
I think that's happened before. I think that's part of our legal system. And people do get married and fall in love with people that they've never got to be alone with. It's a weird, it's probably that devil mankind thing again that Richard Lale brought up. But yeah, I think that's not that weird, unfortunately.
I took the time also to watch the on a follow-up. I took the time to watch. There's a Netflix doc called "The Devil on Trial," and that was an interesting follow-up to this movie, finding out that after Arnie gets out of jail in some number of years, I read that he's now miraculously not possessed. Also, there was a mixed bag of the brothers believing whether David was actually possessed or he had mental issues, and David, though, still believes that he was possessed, and you can see a lot of the original pictures on that document and hear a lot of the original tapes on that too. So that's a good follow-up to this movie and doing some of your own research and finding out things for yourself.
I have a good follow-up too. So I, as a former Christian, love to watch exorcisms. And if you want a good laugh, there's this real life exorcist. He's Protestant. He's not Catholic, but he dresses like a priest, and his name is Bob Larson. And
oh no,
you should watch Bob Larson Exorcist if you want to laugh. The best one is he casts this demon out of this man who says he's the beast. I mean, it's hilarious. The funny thing is, though, Bob Larson, exorcist, gets 3 Satanists up who are actually Satanists. And he's trying to rebuke them in the name of Jesus and cast out the demons. And they go, okay, cool story, bro. But meanwhile, the ones that are the believers are. Bob Larson Exorcist. If you want to laugh, you will watch Bob Larson Exorcist. And the thing is, he claims to have cast out 10,000 demons, and he claims that he is serious. But if you want to laugh, watch Bob Larson. It's like candy, Inject that right into my veins.
Oh, another thing that I did appreciate, actually, one of the things I did appreciate about the movie was the psychometry that was used by Lorraine. And that's an extrasensory perception. It's where you touch an object and you can gain information about its history. And that is very much something that people can do. I can do it, and I'm sure a few of you others in here can do the same thing. So that is very much something that is real. So I wanted to mention that as well.
But you don't have to grab a corpse, though, right? I'm pretty sure you can do it in other ways other than a corpse.
I was surprised how well preserved that corpse was, having been in the water for that long. Mm-hmm. That was amazing.
Right, and she did pendulum too, didn't she? Yeah. Didn't she work with a pendulum a little bit? I remember seeing that, or maybe that's while I was asleep. I like the waterbed though. I like the water.
Oh yeah.
The waterbed was allegedly
Those aren't
drawn from a
water
real
beds.
experience, though. Like there was a stain on a bed, and that was a real experience. So that was like one of the few things in this
Is that
movie
a
that
real-
was
it
based
just-
on something.
Yeah, I don't. It just made me want a waterbed.
Who was thinking about A Nightmare on Elm Street too?
We could put a waterbed in the back of our van when we go
Yes!
on tour. Pat.
Oh yes.
Plan is coming together.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah, I mean, because that's a sign of class is when you have a waterbed in the back of your van,
yeah, you're bad.
right? That probably
Those people
inspired the
with a bunch of
Satanic
stuff
Panic
going.
too.
We may need a whole school bus.
Okay.
Right.
Get on that, producer Rob.
Yeah.
Now, I also, just in talking about people who investigate the paranormal and the world of demonic possession, I just wanted to give a shout out to Catherine Crowe, who wrote The Nightshade of Nature, or Ghost and Ghost Seer, and that came out around 1948. I also wanted to give a shout out to Hans Holzer, who wrote Ghost Hunter in 1963, and he wrote about demonic possession as well. So I think it's important to mention other people who were also doing the same things around the time Ed and Lorraine were doing their thing. As
I will
some
say
people
this. Sorry.
no,
About demons. I was just about demons. So I think that demons get entirely too much credit, but are there non-living entities that exist that one can be possessed by? Yes, I will say I have channeled these energies that were never human, and I have seen through the eyes. I was at the Los Feliz murder mansion. I allowed the spirit to come into me, which was funny because even in that one, the family was Jewish. The demon that I was channeling was pre-Christian, and Zach, love him, tried to cast the demon out in the name of Jesus.
I think too that some people mistake elementals for demons as well, because the energy of an elemental very consuming and very overwhelming, and when people don't know what to do with their feels, it seems like for the most part it goes straight to negative. And I think that's in part to movies and television and people being told how they're supposed to feel about these things. So I think it's, people tend to go straight to that, and they don't actually know what or know how to figure out or deal with, or even know what they are dealing with. And I know Patty, you and Richard Lale actually have. Patty, you have the University Magicus, where you actually teach about some of these things, right?
We teach it. We teach it all. All this weird, spooky, fabulous stuff. Is that our bus?
That's our bus.
There's our school bus. Oh my goodness.
I like the wood ornament.
Waterbed. We have to make room for the waterbed.
I think that's perfect.
That
We
cracks
need to
me
get
up
on
there
that.
about Richard Lale and the cross with Zach. I was just again at the museum with Peggy the doll, who's a haunted doll, and I've done a seance with her. They've got a rosary on her, and she hates it. She hates it. I think she's Jewish. What's it gonna do?
Did you tell them?
I have, but nobody listens.
Oh, that's
they get on my
unfortunate.
I
That's
it's a long time since I said it. I asked just one of the tour guides yesterday or the day before, going.
I think one of the getting back to what Tabitha said about language and how people react to different spirits. I think that the language that we're seeing in these movies is language that has been built over time and it escaped just the religious sector where they came from, and now circulates in the general population as ways to term experience with the unseen entities. Most people don't have the terms that you're talking about. Most people don't have term elemental.
Yeah.
They don't understand the different types of spirits they can be dealing with, because one, they're not interested in reading the books that we're talking about. I have a fabulous author who wrote a book called Unquiet Voices. That's a wonderful occult take on working with animals. Working with the unseen elements, not working with animals. So Unquiet Voices gives those terms, but it's not something the general population is going to read. So the terms that they get are from these movies. They're from not centuries, but a century of movies and TV, as well as books and everything, that have been uniformly influenced by Catholicism in Western culture. So you don't see these terms necessarily in Eastern cultures. You don't see the same relationship with spirits in like Japan, and it's different. Here we see that. I talk about that in terms of working with dolls. It's the same thing. It's different. So when they have something bad that's unseen, of course the first thing they're going to go to is it's got to be a demon. They have no other term for it. And that's the education that we're doing right here now in this
here. Yes,
we're talking about it.
Yes. And I want to mention, Robert said yes, Hans Holzer did have a TV series. A year or two ago, my friend Dave Schrader and Cindy Kazo were on it, and they were pulling things out of the Hans Holzer file. So that was good that you mentioned that, Tab. He was one of the early researchers on stuff. But
I will admit I have some issues with Hans Holzer. He and Raymond Buckland did not get along, and in one of his books, he refers to Raymond Buckland as Raymond Bachland the entire chapter. And this comes through like in the second and third printings, right? So there was time to get the name right, and he still chose to go with Raymond Bachland. So Hans Holzer is in my doghouse for not being nice to witches.
Oh no! It's getting better.
That's us. That's us stopping for tea, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, tea time with Richard Lale. Yeah.
Taking it on the road. Okay, who hasn't talked about the movie yet? Anybody? Nobody? All right. Anybody have quotes?
I
have at least one. I just gotta find it. I gotta find it real quick. Arnie says, "Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you are scared, but you hang in there." And I find myself getting scared about silly little things, but sometimes you got to do things scared. Sometimes you got to make the leap and keep on keeping
Can
on.
Richard Lale repeat his quote, because I really like it?
Which one?
From the beginning, like
come in me, come in me.
Yes, that's it right there.
Leave it alone. Come in me.
I might use that as my ringtone on my phone going forward in life.
That's generally heard in different types of movies,
Yeah.
but
All right, then we must be up to the Mankey movie minute moment.
We are. As most of you have probably gleaned by now, I'm not a huge fan of this film. So if you are a fan of the Warrens and this film, be prepared to curse me or hex me in Courtney's absence. That's fine. I can handle it. Whoa, is that?
What is that?
What is that? That's like...
That is...
whatever it is, it's time.
That is
Do
my
not ask.
child.
Do
That
not
is my child alerting us that we're being watched.
Oh.
So
By
behave,
who?
everybody.
By
By my
who or what?
child.
Oh, hello, child.
Is this one of the dolls?
No, this is not a doll. This is
Is this a flesh and blood child or one of the dolls?
flesh and blood child alerting that we're being watched. So
Okay. All right. I feel better. I think. I don't
ahead,
know.
Jason,
I don't.
Don't be nervous.
All right. So again, if you like the Warrens, prepare to hex me. It's fine. I can handle it. Have you ever taken a dump? I know most of you have, but I'm talking about a huge dump. And while you are letting go of this monstrous doo-doo, you make lots of noise too. And things are about to get so messy that you start praying to whatever higher powers you hold dear that no one will hear the eventual kerplop and that no one will bang on the door anytime soon. This deuce you are about to drop commands your entire attention. It's one of those eruptions that has your eyes scanning the sink for some sort of air freshener. This is serious stuff. And this stuff is so serious that it's likely that the devil made me do it. Well, if you've ever taken a dump like that, I've got good news for you. It's possible that you'll be able to sell the story of your toilet sitting to writer David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, real name, and writer-director James Wan, the architects of The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Like all the other movies in the main Conjuring series of films, this film is also based on a real story. But that real story is so far removed from the actual events in this movie that they could have just filmed Ed going to the bathroom for the real story part. It will always be weird to me about these chimes and Heather's kids telling us that somebody's watching us, but it will also be weird to me that there are a lot of witches who not only like the Conjuring movies, but also seem to like and believe the things Ed and Lorraine Warren wrote about the paranormal. Ed and Lorraine, much like James Wan, seem to hate witches, have no real background in the occult as we understand it, and, as Heather has pointed out, we're super committed Catholics. The Conjuring movies are like the Marvel Cinematic Universe of Catholicism, but instead of being armed with superpowers, the Warrens were armed with holy water and prayer books. I don't know what to find scary in the Conjuring universe, since every major threat can be thwarted with a crucifix and the Lord's Prayer. I'll admit that the first Conjuring movie was fun, and the second one was okay, but holy gods, is this third movie bad? Why would any occultist need a bunch of people to murder someone they don't know and then off themselves after the murders? Seriously, what's the motivation here? And of course, the evil witch orchestrating this ridiculously stupid plan is part of a cult linked back to the doll Annabelle. These movies are all obsessed with Annabelle, probably because Annabelle is a more interesting dinner companion than the Warrens. I'd take Annabelle saying nothing over Ed and Lorraine talking to me about the Catholic Church. And why does the antagonist have to be a witch? Why would witch give two doo-doos about the Warrens? Why would a witch craft a spell that could be undone simply by taking a sledgehammer to an altar? Now I cast my spell of murder and death so that I might raise a demon. But my spell will all be undone if anyone stumbles upon my altar and wrecks it. Ha 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 ha. Evil witchcraft. I don't expect Hollywood movies to get witchcraft correct. But what kind of stupid witch writes a spell that can be broken if a couple of candles are knocked down? This is so dumb. When Courtney hexes me and we love you and we miss you, she's much more careful than that. A lot of the rest of this movie is nonsensical too. Ed, who depending on the scene can barely move or has cat-like reflexes, breaks into a funeral home. Why would anyone think they could visit a funeral home at midnight? And then Lorraine has to hold the hand of a corpse to have a psychic reading? I'm not a psychic, but I don't think it works like that. I've never seen Patty hold a dead hand on Ghost Adventures. Yeah, I'm sure the Warrens broke into a funeral home as a part of the true story. If they had done something so stupid, they would have ended up in jail. Perhaps the gravest sin of The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, is that it's boring. Perhaps I could have forgiven some of the satanic panic nonsense if this had been a good film, but I nearly fell asleep while we were watching this, despite watching it while high on cocaine and drinking a cup of coffee. Okay, maybe the only latter is true there. This film had me longing for Velocipaster or Ouija Shark, or dare I say it, The Killing Tree. And the worst part, there's apparently one more film to go. I can't wait to see what misinformation about witches Juan has in store for us this time. Perhaps the witches will engage in cannibalism, or we find out that the witches piloted all the planes to Epstein Island. How fun. I'm sure that can all be undone, though, with a little holy water and an unauthorized exorcism. Look up diminishing returns in the dictionary, and you'll see a picture of the Conjuring franchise. I, for one, would like to conjure up a better series of films.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank
Put it to bed.
you. Thank you. That is great.
So much venom there tonight. I'm really sorry. So much venom.
Venom.
So much venom.
I do want to say I know a lot of people with the Warren Society and Nesper and all that. These are just the. I asked them about
Me too.
what if somebody, because they go out and help people with houses and exorcisms and house clearings, and I'm like, and they know I'm a witch, and I'm like, I'm not a Catholic, and they tell me, and I don't know if it's true or not, that they're not all Catholics anymore. They will send out pagans and they will send out whatever else. I don't know how true that is, but that is from the horse's mouth, as they say. Who knows?
Yeah, they have a range of folks working. I have a couple of friends that work within their genre as well.
There you
Yeah.
go. All right. Well, it is almost that time, so we have one very important thing to do, and that is to vote on this fine film. Get your wands out or any similar type of thing. Oh, Richard. Okay. Well, we're down the rabbit hole. Okay, you guys in the chat room, please vote. I have Courtney votes wands up. We have a Courtney from the hospital.
She was really like zoned out on drugs
morphine. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll ask her again.
Yeah.
But morphine Cody is wands up. I am down, but I'm not 100% down because I like the waterbed scene.
Well,
I love the main actors, so it like hurts me to do this down.
Agreed, Jason.
And check out Vera's band. It kills. It's great.
Okay,
She's
good.
in a band.
So you guys are hardly voting out there. You didn't watch it. Wait, we got a wands up for the romance. We didn't talk about the Warrens. We didn't, the romance. And again, they're my Warrens.
Yeah, but it's all fiction. It's fiction. Fiction.
He built her a gazebo, Richard Lale. A gazebo.
Apparently, there is a gazebo. I looked at it.
You can be both outdoors and inside at the same time.
All right.
You can, just like our
I have
man.
a very noisy dog upstairs. I don't know why. But what are we doing next week? Does anybody know?
We're going to be hunting demons again, but this time with a K-pop group. So it's K-pop Demon Hunters next week, everybody. When I was at Dragon Con, we announced that after the Wizard of Oz panel, and there was cheers from the crowd. So get ready to sing and dance.
All right. Oh, yay, a musical show. So K-pop dinner, Demon Hunters, everybody for next week. As Richard Leal said, like us, follow us, tell your friends about us. Go online to Mystery Control. Get your own Very Black Phillip or Bling Phillip or T-shirts or quotes from get a Richard Leal pillow. It'll protect you from all sorts of scary things. And then come back next week. Right?
Where are you going to be this weekend, Patty?
I'm going to be in Maine, in Augusta, Maine, at the Maine Paranormal and Horror Con with the real Annabelle and the traveling Warren Museum. So I will be there. I will be doing a mediumship gallery. Perhaps I will be possessed. I don't know. Possessed. And that's it. So come on down. It's a busy month. We are getting into spooky season. So September and October, I'm pretty much everywhere all the time, as you guys are too. So that's where I am. Anybody else? Where are you? Jason?
I'll be at Northwest Pagan Fest in Spokane, Washington this weekend and in Reno next weekend for Pagan Pride.
Beautiful. Richard Leal?
I will be here in New Orleans. It is my busy month, as you know. September, October, November in New Orleans is busy. So I've got vampire balls to do, and I'm everywhere. University Magicus, it's gentlemanpsychic.com. I'm just really easy to find. I'm everywhere.
Thank you. Okay. Heather?
I have had a very busy summer and spring, so I am taking a little break, and I will be here in Atlanta working with my wonderful authors and other projects just for the next few weeks. So nothing to announce at this point.
Beautiful. Thank you. And our beautiful, always loved guest, Tabitha.
Thank you. I will be here at my home. I'm working on writing something myself, so that's going to be exciting when I can talk about that too. You can find me at Tabitha Meadows at travelerslight.life for private
Perfect.
readings.
You guys like us, follow us, tell your friends about us, and come back next week, same place, same time. So we could sing, or we could cackle, or we could curse somebody. What do you want to do?
Stick to
All
cackling.
of it.
Cackling.
You guys are so uneventful. When we have the waterbed, we're going to do more. When we have our van and the waterbed, we're going to sing. Okay. 1, 2, 3.